kommt. Kommt, you said is come?
Kommen. Kommen is the verb, but the
you could translate the entirety of Here Kommt Alex then,
let's
right?
do it.
Hi. Here kommt Alex.
Here comes Alex.
And I know.
So here kommt Alex. Let's see.
That was also one of the most underrated songs on Guitar Hero 3,
really
in my
was.
opinion.
Oh, dude, actually, I did find a bunch of really cool German bands.
German metal.
Yeah, so
I feel like that's a thing.
not even metal, just like cool indie German music. I
Really?
found like a band that's very close to it. Basically, they're the German Coldplay.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
I like it.
Nice.
In einer Welt, in der man nur noch lebt. So in a world in which one only lives, damit man täglich Roboten geht. Okay, damit man täglich Roboten geht is with which a man daily goes with a robot. Ist die größte Aufregung, die es noch gibt. So Aufregung is a word that I don't know.
If you can just decipher what the general idea of the song is, I thought it was just, hey, Alex is coming over. I didn't think it involved robots or anything like that.
It's so weird though. Maybe robotlich it's roboten, but that's Ist die is the greatest excitement aller Bandlich Fernsehbild. So Fernsehbild is TV like pictures.
Okay.
Jeder Mensch lebt wie ein Uhrwerk. So everyone lives like a clock. Wie ein Computer programmiert. Wie like a computer program. Es gibt keinen, der sich dagegen wehrt. There is nothing that which against to struggle. Nur ein paar Jugendliche sind frustriert, and only a few younger people are frustrated with this world. Wenn am Himmel die Sonne untergeht, so when the sun goes under heaven, beginnt für die Trügs der Tag. So basically,
Sounds like some anti-establishment.
Exactly.
That's like German Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, it is. In kleinen Banden sammeln sie sich, so they collect in small groups, and they gain together to the wild. Hey, hier kommt Alex. Vorhang auf für seine Horrorschau. Oh. So here comes... Oh, this is about A Clockwork Orange.
A what?
Do you know that movie, A Clockwork Orange?
No.
So A Clockwork Orange is a... oh my god. That's insane. A Clockwork Orange is a movie by Stanley Kubrick.
Okay.
It's also a book. It's also a very famous book. But basically, what it is that... So Alex is the main character of this movie. So he and his friends nightly go out and they basically do a lot of really bad things like rape and steal and stuff.
Okay.
In the nighttime. And what this song is saying is that they do those things because they're trying to fight against a sort of like social clockwork.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. I never realized.
But really, they're just a bunch of degenerates?
Yes. No, they're a bunch of degenerates. They're a bunch of like horrible criminals.
Huh.
And it's obvious because they use the word droogs. And droog is a word that they use in A Clockwork Orange. It's I think it's an old Russian slang word for friends or for a group.
Today I learned.
Yeah, me too. Auf dem Kreuzzug gegen die Ordnung und die scheinbar heile Welt zelebrieren sie die Zerstörung, Gewalt und Brutalität. Oh, wow.
I'm assuming there was brutality in there.
Brutality and Zerstörung is destruction. Erst wenn sie ihre Opfer leiden sehen, spüren die Befriedigung. Es gibt nichts mehr, was sie jetzt aufhält in. Okay, that's really depressing. First, when they see the opera, unfortunately, spüren sie Befriedigung. So that's about the ending. So in the ending of the movie, you'll have to watch the movie eventually. It's really dark. What happens is they take Alex, who loves Beethoven, and they force his eyes open, and then they force him to watch really horrible acts while also listening to Beethoven.
Interesting.
And that's...
Are they like associating horrible acts with Beethoven in his mind?
I think they're trying to associate horrible acts with with what not to do so that he doesn't do them anymore. I didn't realize this was about A Clockwork Orange.
Neat.
I want to look up Roboten.
Robots.
I mean, yeah, you would think. Oh, Roboten is a verb, which means to work hard. But roboten is also the word for robot.
Are there multiple words with double meanings also in German?
There's a lot of words. Yeah, lots of German words have double meanings in how to use them. It's kind of like how in English there are words like that as well. Like underline can mean to literally underline, but it can also mean like to accentuate or emphasize. So like, for instance, the word erzählen means to narrate, but it also means to tell. You can use it in different ways depending on your context. Yeah, there's a few that are just like very different. Like, and it depends on how you use the word, and it depends on in what context the word exists.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
What a nice language.
If anyone ever asks you, because I remember Nick used to talk to us about it, and he was like, "Yeah, here comes Alex." He's literally here is Alex, or here comes Alex.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome to episode 16 of the Actually Nothing podcast. Aaron forgot to introduce the episode, so he had to enslave me, an innocent robot boy, to do it. Send help.
I have a lot of books in German that I'm reading, like just for practice. Mm-hmm. The last one that I read was called Todlicher Schnee, which means deadly snow.
I know Schnee means snow because of a show that I watched.
Which one?
Ruby, that Rooster Teeth, one of the characters. Oh, one of their family, their whole family line is after winter stuff. Oh. Their last name is Schnee.
Schnee, yeah.
Are you going to be practicing German now on your own time since you have some proficiency over it?
Yes.
And try to just keep it up.
Basically, I just read, and sometimes I talk to my friends from Middlebury in German, but it really depends. I recall the German words rather, like, I can recall them quickly. I need a minute to switch back into the German because I'm so used to being in English now. It was the opposite when I was in Middlebury. It was like we had used so much German that when I tried to use English, my English would be German syntax superimposed, I get what you mean. English words superimposed on German syntax. So it's like,
because you've been so used to thinking of how to structure your words that
exactly.
way.
And I still do that sometimes here. Like, for instance, sometimes I'll feel like I need to put the verb on the end, and that's all German syntax. Yeah. So like, it would make sense to make, like it would make sense to do that.
Throwing the verb at the end of the sentence, I feel like would be a big cause for confusion. Yeah, especially for like first time learners.
And it is, because sometimes German like will throw 5 verbs at you and you have to figure out where they go. So like, for instance, if you want to say like, because I have much to do, it's like, or because I have so much to do, weil ich zu viel zu tun habe. So that's 2 verbs. That's I have a lot to do. So literally it's because I so much to do have. The conjugated verb always goes on the end.
Jeez.
Verbs in general stay near the end as well. There's a few examples where like a German sentence will include 5 verbs in one sentence, and like you just don't.
You're just like, huh?
You're just like, what? And I mean, English will do that as well, where we'll include 5 verbs in a single sentence, and each verb has different uses depending on where it is.
Yeah. There's
a fun saying. The saying is, when a fly flies behind a fly, then flies fly, and then...
Is this one of those buffalo
yes.
things?
I need to look up what...
Which I haven't actually looked up how to decipher that sentence.
I don't either, man. So, the sentence is, wenn Fliegen hinter Fliegen fliegen, dann fliegen nach.
So Fliegen's fly?
Yeah. When a fly flies behind a fly, then flies fly in a row.
Yeah. Oh, but fliegen is the same as in English, like it also means the insect and the act of soaring.
Fliegen is a fly, and a fliegen is also to fly. Wenn Fliegen hinter Fliegen fliegen.
See.
It's also interesting, Krähe is also a verb. Krähe is also crow in German. Krähe. Crayon.
And a crayon is a tool that you use to color with.
That's correct. So Krähe is crow, or crayon is crow, but crayon is also to crow. So the same thing applies wenn Crayon unter Crayon.
Now what would a crowbar be?
A crowbar?
Is there a word for bar?
It's probably Kräbach. It's Brachstange. So Brechts is generally the word that you use for like mechanical things.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have like tools, Brech is like a great word. So like, for instance, a sheet of metal is called a blech or a brech. But then when you need to use a baking sheet, you have a Bachblech. It's a baking thing.
Mechanical thing.
Yeah, tool. But then there's also like the general word for a mechanical thing is Geräte or Gerät.
So is there a Gerätsblech?
Yeah, you can have a Gerätsblech. It works. Like a TV, computer, microwave, the oven, those are all Geräte.
They can all be Geräte.
Geräte, yeah. Geräte falls under the category of Ding.
Ding?
Thing. Yeah, just
Ding
thing.
is thing?
Yeah, Dinge is things, but that's not super Deutsch. When you want to use that word things, you'd use Sache. Sache means things. It's just like a general thing.
So when you were learning this form of German, is it like common everyday German, or is it like...
This is High Deutsch.
So would that be the equivalent of like speaking very proper, précis English?
Yes. It's like when immigrants learn English, they learn like academic English.
Yeah.
Like the correct ways of using English. And so when they master the English language, they really master it because it's like they're learning the highest form of English.
Mm-hmm.
We're using lots of slang most of the time.
Conversational.
Yeah. And so what we learn and what generally you learn in any sort of German class is High Deutsch. It's academic, and it's like some of it is a little old, altmodisch.
So like if you use this in Germany, I mean, people would obviously probably understand you, but would they be like, oh, this is kind of different than how I normally speak?
It would depend, like, on what I'm using. So, for instance, if I used, are you familiar with the case systems?
I know what the cast systems are, but not the case systems.
So, like, German has 4 cases. You have nominative, which is like, that is that.
Okay.
But then you also have accusative, and that's the direct object, the dative, and that's the indirect object, and then genitive. Genitive is something that it just expresses possession, and it's not necessarily, it's not commonly used in German colloquial language anymore. Like, it's used, but that's being replaced more and more by dative. Like, you could say, that's my friend's chair. So my friend's chair, or you could also say, that's the chair of my friend, or the chair from my friend, is what you could also say in German.
Speaking of German, I recently learned that Arnold Schwarzenegger's German is like really hillbilly-ish.
Really? Oh,
so
he's from Austria, though.
Yeah.
So
it's like real countryside, rural.
Especially
his accent.
Yeah.
Because apparently in the German dubs of Terminator, they wouldn't let him dub his own voice because it'd be weird to have the main character speak with a rural area accent.
That's true.
So they had to have somebody else dub his own voice for his parts.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But I watched a couple of videos of him doing interviews.
Yeah.
In German, and his voice is exactly the same, just with German words. It's still so like when I was watching it, it was kind of like my brain was at a dissonance because I was like, I'm expecting to hear English words coming out of him, but it's just still.
I think that's the thing about his voice, though. It's like it's iconic because of that weirdness.
Yeah.
And it's iconic because of that sound he makes.
But he could have totally like weaved in English at some point, and I wouldn't have realized it because it's still so strange. Apparently, I don't know if it's true or not, but rumors are that he had to have, or he does at some point use like a speech vocalist coach to maintain his accent.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Especially when that accent of his is so like, you can monetize it too.
What if it's like he actually can speak perfect regular English, and he does normally, but whenever he goes out in public, he puts it on. He puts it on.
He's like a
to totally trick
actor.
People. Yeah,
honestly.
But like behind closed doors, he's just like, God, I hate using that accent.
Would you do that?
Yeah, that's like the reverse of what I said when you have to raise a child with a completely fake accent.
That's
then
true.
you just suddenly speak to them with regular English.
That's true. I like hearing people from the UK try like copy the American dialect because it makes a lot of sense for whatever reason. Like they're so good at making that dialect happen.
like I always forget that John Boyega, Star Wars Finn.
Oh,
he's. I thought he was American.
No.
Nope, he's British.
But that's also like Hugh Laurie as well. You watch enough House and you would expect him to be like a natural English, like American English speaker, but no.
Tom Holland, Spider-Man, he's also
He
British.
is too.
His is on point though. His English is so good, or his American English, sorry. And then Benedict Cumberbatch too.
Yeah, but Benedict Cumberbatch uses his UK English he used it in what? What's that show that he had?
Doctor Strange?
No, the show where he played Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock. God. Oh my God. I didn't watch any TV while I was in Middlebury, and so like.
Oh yeah, was all the media and that stuff that you were consuming also in German?
Yeah, so actually I didn't listen to any American music while I was there either. I listened solely to classical music and then also to German, like whatever music I could find.
Did you change the language setting on your phone to German?
I did actually,
Nice.
and I got really used to using it. I had to change it back because I had to take directions from here to another place.
Oh.
And I wasn't about to use Google Maps in German. Like I can, but I don't want to, especially if I'm in a rush and I've got to get somewhere. It's like I'm not going to use German like Google Maps. The worst is like when you want to switch your whole phone back, you have to do like a few things separately. So Siri goes separately. I'd be in a bind where like I'd want to ask Siri, "Oh, what song is this?" And then I would ask it in English, and then she'd be like, "Leider, ich habe keine Antworten." And it's like Siri, please let me have this because I want to know what the song is. Does
Siri have an accent too when you change it?
Yeah, hold on. You can ask things to Siri in German, and it's not like she's pretty good at understanding all of it, and she's got that Deutsche accent. Let's see, where is it? Okay. Let's see if we can ask it a question.
I mean, I'd change my navigation voice to Arnold if I could.
Yeah, me too. I would really love to change my navigation voice to something a lot funnier. Like,
turn left, turn right. Arrive at your destination very soon.
Honestly, like that, or maybe like Christopher Walken.
Or turn left.
Yeah.
Oh, at the street 100 feet away from you. Oh, no, you missed it.
Honestly, I'd love that. Or like... Okay, let's see. Or some sort of like Tony Soprano type of person. Okay, wait, let's see. Hallo Siri, wie geht's?
Ausgezeichnet. Danke der Nachfrage.
Ooh.
Yeah. She said, "I'm doing amazing. Thank you for the question."
I was definitely expecting a more robot sounding voice for Siri, but I forget that Siri just speaks like a regular human, which
Siri's
is
pretty smooth.
Kind of interesting.
There's a video where they ask Alexa, like, "Alexa, what's cupcake in German?" And she goes, "Cupcake in German is cupcake." And it's just deeper and a little more sexy.
Sensual.
Yeah, like sexy Alexa.
Are there words in German that people have just decided to use English words instead, like Tagalish?
Oh, like Taglish?
Or English is kind of just baked into the language sometimes.
There's I don't know if there's too much Danglish. Like I mean, there are a bunch of cognates that are very like close to English. I mean, computer is one of them.
Yeah.
Computer.
Well, that's true. I didn't think about it. I forgot that the languages are so similar that it's like it would almost be pointless to try to switch some words.
But I also think that some words like are definite adoptions. They're called there's a specific word for these
adoptions.
There's a specific word for words that German has that are taken from other languages.
Okay.
So, for instance, the word Etage means floors, but like Etage is a French word, and so you would pronounce it the same way that the French would pronounce Etage. Or another good example is like, I don't know, poster. It's Das Poster, but you'd pronounce poster as poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few more that just are interesting. My favorite word has to be the word for cell phone.
Which
Germans don't use cell phone, although you can and they'll understand it. They use the word handy.
Handy?
Yeah. Mein cell phone is mein Handy.
That takes on a very different,
yes, it does.
Different meaning in regular American English.
Yes, it does.
Wow.
Gib mir meine Handy.
Are there any sounds that are absent in German? Like, you know how, like in Japanese, there's no L.
Oh,
or all the phonetic sounds the same, and they just add more stuff.
It's more that English doesn't use these rules.
Oh.
It's like you get really used to pronouncing all of your W's as V's.
Yeah, okay.
You also get really used to pronouncing any word with S as sh. So like, for
Instead
instance,
of SCH.
yeah, as the sh sound
Yeah.
instead of only S. And then you also get super used to J as Y. So the word young is Jung, and you pronounce that young. And that's where we get the word young. And then there's also one more. There's the letter Y. The letter Y is pronounced U. It's for upsilon.
Just Y?
Yeah, so the letter Y is U.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stereotype.
How do they... What's Z?
Z.
Okay, so it's closer to Z.
Yeah, basically Z. And then I don't think there's a letter X. You hardly ever see...
There's no sound. There's no X sound.
Well, I think there is a sound for it, but we hardly used the letter X while we were there. I can't remember any specific word with the letter X that I had seen. So that probably points to that letter or that character not being used too often. Yeah. But so, and then there's also etcet. So, have you ever seen the big B looking character?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a big letter B. With
It has
a
a
long
little
line.
tail.
That's right. That's called an etcet.
Okay.
And basically that's just two S's in a row.
Oh,
Yeah.
but it looks like a B.
Yeah, it looks like a big B. It's just easier to write. Yeah. So there's a few of those things in German that are like, they don't exist in English.
You saying that W is a V sound
Yeah.
makes more sense to me, but in English we call it W when it's two V's instead of two U's.
Yeah, English is kind of fucky, like a lot of English shouldn't work. And I've heard a lot of differing opinions about how easy or how difficult English is. I think like when you're trying to acquire English, it's not terribly difficult, although the rules are different.
Yeah.
For us, it doesn't, we take all of it for granted because we learned it so young.
Up with it, so.
Yeah. And then we're also using so much slang. And that's another thing about English is that English uses so much slang.
Is that a unique thing to English?
I have no idea if it's unique, but I recognize that whenever I'm speaking to people, like I use so many idiomatic phrases or so many like, just slangy phrases or slangy like things.
Yeah.
And that works. Like that works because everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you try to use it with somebody who just learned English, it's like, they probably don't get it that much.
Yeah, because they have different meanings. When I was in Italy, I remember trying to explain lots of slang to these Japanese students, and like it was weird because they knew the words themselves, but they hadn't recognized before that you could use the words in this sort of way.
Yeah.
It was funny because when I was in Middlebury, frequently we would try to use like English phrases, but in German. Mm-hmm. So like,
did it translate well?
Well, they translate, but it's not like you can use them in the same way.
Yeah.
So my favorite one was the word for run is laufen.
Yeah.
And when you conjugate it, it becomes läuft. And so you can ask someone like wie läufst, and wie läufst means like literally how runs it. And it's kind of like, it's not an American phrase, but it's close. It's very close to like, how's it going? Or like, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a very slangified version of it. And we'd called all those dumb little things Middlebury Deutsch. Like creations that we had made by translating something from English to German and then using the slang English as a German phrase.
Like putting it in a Google Translate.
No,
and then
totally like that.
doing it again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other ones that we had used where we had basically just run it through. Like, ich kann nicht is like such an English phrase, an English idiomatic phrase to use. Ich kann nicht is I cannot. Mm-hmm. I can't. Like, oh, I cannot with you. Like, that's, that's such an idiom here. I just can't. Like, oh my God, I can't.
I can't even.
Yeah, I can't even. Ich kann nicht eben. So it's like, that doesn't necessarily go in German. That's another fun thing is so when something works, you say es geht. And that means it goes. So like, so
it's like it works.
Yeah, it works. Like, oh, that functions. But saying es geht is better than saying es funktioniert. Es funktioniert is a little more like technical.
Yeah.
When you say like es funktioniert, it's like, oh, this word functions here correctly, or this computer functions correctly.
Oh, okay.
But when you say es geht, it's like anything can gate. Yeah.
I see.
Anything works.
If we listen back to this and we're wondering why we're just talking about language stuff, it's because you came back from... Actually, we said this on the last one too, where it was like, we're back. And then it's been like a month and a half of silence.
Well, this has been like,
well, we just had a lot of stuff going on.
This is like 2 months. I've been away for 2 months recently, and I'm finally getting back into into a routine with living now back in Illinois. Middlebury's program is insane. They called it Zauberberg, which is Magic Mountain. It's also a book by Thomas Mann. But it really is a magic mountain of sorts, because like you're up there, like you're only in this small town. You can't travel very far. Middlebury is so like isolated from most things. It's an hour away from the nearest big city, and that big city is like really a small town.
Not even that big.
Burlington is great, but it's also super small.
And it's also in Vermont, which by itself just has nothing in it.
We lived like in the vicinity of a bunch of farms. Basically, here's Middlebury, and then around Middlebury is a bunch of like a fuck ton of farmland. And like, man, every Friday they would lay new manure, and so it would just waft. It would just like a big cloud of shit smell. It just would waft onto the campus, and there'd be no escaping it.
Oh yeah, I'm used to that. That happened at U of I too, because it's in the middle of farmland.
But the thing with Middlebury is that for whatever reason, this very expensive institution, so I say very expensive because for a liberal arts college, kids pay $50K a year to attend for an undergraduate liberal arts college.
Okay.
It's insane. And for whatever reason, they don't have air conditioning.
Ugh.
They have air conditioning in the new buildings, but so I lived in a suite, and my suite seemed relatively new. It was nice. It was like a hotel, but for whatever reason, we didn't have any air conditioning in the individual rooms. And so you were basically forced to keep the window open the entire time.
But then you have to let the smell in.
Yeah. And so you'd let the smell in, and there's no escaping it unless you like closed your window and then just like sweated your way through it.
Or you could breathe through your mouth, but then you'll taste it.
Oh God. And then I don't want to be a mouth breather.
Yeah.
I like take pride in the fact that I don't do that.
I like using that as an insult.
It really is.
I just call people mouth breathers.
It's a pretty good insult. Yeah. It's like harmless enough to be okay, but also it kind of stings.
Yeah. Like you have to think about it for a second. If somebody called you a mouth breather, you'd be like, wait, what?
It's like, oh shit. Like,
You
sorry.
just insulted me, I think.
Yeah, seriously. I like using second tier person. Like
second tier person.
Yeah, just
instead of like second rate, you're a second tier person.
Yeah, it's like a person that you keep on your outskirts, on the outskirts of your life, but you keep them around because
that's
why
pretty
not?
Good.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
dude, you're a real tier 3 right now.
Dude, tier 3 is like tier 3 is like I don't want to hang out with you, but we've been acquainted for so long. Tier 2 is like I kind of need you because you do good things for me,
but I prefer to not have your presence around.
Yeah, but I'd rather not hang out with you too often, sort of thing. Wow, shout out to those people.
Also, fun fact, when people try to learn English, apparently the Midwestern accent is the most desired because it's the most neutral accent.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like Southern accents.
I love the Southern accent.
Like you'd understand it, but they're a little too much twang on it to be probably understood by the majority of people.
Honestly, like the Southern accent to me is so attractive. I don't know what it is. Like it's probably Kelby, but like
yeah, that makes sense.
But also like it just sounds kind of nice.
Yeah.
And like it has a nice rhythm to it, and that's what I like about it. When I think of the Midwestern accent, I think of the color beige.
Beige? Why is that different than like West Coast or East Coast?
Well, beige is just like a neutral color, and it's just like, here it is. It's not
oh, you mean literally like the color represents the Midwest?
It's like, it's not incredibly exciting, but here it is.
It's also the color of wheat, which is
that's true
everywhere, so that probably is grounded in reality a little bit.
Yeah, the very exact image I'm thinking of is my family's old Ford Windstar van.
Wow, that's as specific as it gets.
Have you seen the Ford Windstar?
No.
It's about as mom van as you can get.
Okay.
It's like, it's more mom than the Honda Odyssey at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
The Honda Odyssey is the mom van.
It is the mom van, but honestly, it's super trash. Wait, here you go.
Oh, it's so fat.
Yeah, it's so fat, and it's a lovely vehicle.
Okay,
but
yeah,
it looks pretty... it definitely looks like a submarine sandwich turned into a car, and it's great. Yeah, that's how I envision the Midwest, is this great beige Ford Windstar that my family used to own.
You ever wonder why it's called the Midwest and not like Mid-East instead?
I assume that it's because when they were expanding outwards from the East was not then known as the East, and rather the center. And so finding Illinois as the Midwest is more about, we have no idea how far this land goes, So this is probably the middle.
Oh,
It's good enough, I would
true.
say.
Yeah, because Midwest accent, it's still the same when you go over to California.
Yeah.
But East Coast, they have slightly different things.
Yeah. East Coast accent wasn't too different. He's a little more sharp than, than the Midwest accent. The Midwest accent is, it's hard because
we speak it.
I guess, we do speak it, and I can't necessarily figure out how my Midwestern accent sounds.
Me neither.
I don't think our Midwestern accents are exactly too sharp. I think they're pretty neutral.
It probably varies slightly the more far away you go to. That's like when people accuse us of having the Chicago accent, like our
I don't
A's
think I
are
have
too.
a Chicago accent.
Neither do I.
Really.
I think it's like a jokey stereotype thing that really
I've heard
exist.
some people who definitely have that Chicago accent.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, just
It's like almost
super
rolling into
wide
like
vowels.
a Brooklyn.
Although, as I've learned from my dad and also a linguist that I had met, that Chicago accent comes from the port cities. So all the cities that were built around Lake Michigan, all those cities have a similar accent because they're all in port cities, and because the movement and the travel between these port cities had a language or dialect that traveled with it.
And then it just meshed all together.
Yeah, and then you get
then you got Minnesota by itself that somehow turned into Canada.
Well, I mean, its proximity to Canada makes sense.
Canada Light.
Yeah, basically it is Canada Light. Yeah.
I was thinking about it the other day because I was watching clips of Avatar, and at the beginning of Legend of Korra, they use a transatlantic accent.
Oh yes, I love that accent.
You know how it's
funny.
like it was artificially created to make radio more interesting and stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
The transatlantic accent is not present in any day-to-day like speaking.
Not yet. It's not
anywhere. And for anybody who doesn't know, the transatlantic accent is the radio like, and today what like.
Yeah.
If you ever think of the old like 20s radios type.
They like imagine radio in black and white.
Yeah. So if we were like, welcome to episode 17 of the Actually Nothing podcast. It's like that kind of really exaggerated.
Or like the introduction to Citizen Kane.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't exist in regular unless we forced it.
That's our new charge for this next school year, everyone.
One of the things that I I want to try to do is I'm trying to use bruv instead of bruv. Yeah.
That's nice. I like bruv. It's it feels a little warmer than perhaps like bro. Bro is kind of annoying.
Hey, bruv.
Hey, bro. I like using Deuteronomy now.
Like the Bible book?
Yeah, like Deuter, but Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Like D-U-D-E.
Yeah,
Deuteronomy.
D-U-D-E-R-onomy.
Oh, that's pretty good.
What's up, Deuteronomy?
That could be like one of those Bible Man characters.
Oh my god. Dude, Bible Man was lit. He was so buff too. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, why was he so shredded?
Dude.
Shredded for the Lord.
Body of Christ, right?
Yeah.
But he also had that yellow lightsaber that I couldn't really understand.
Yeah, well, you had the action figure, didn't you?
Yeah. You gotta attack me like that on the podcast.
I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying you had the sick Bible Man action figure.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was the light of Christ sword.
Yeah.
The swords of revealing light. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Fuck. That's correct. That's exactly right. Do you still have all of your
oh, yeah, dude.
Yu-Gi-Oh
I'm keeping
cards?
them because if they don't have significant value on them, then I just want to keep it because I'm like, yeah, this is a large part of my childhood.
I've kept, I think I've only kept 3 of those cards, like, that I plan to keep. It's like, do you remember the Air Knight Parsath?
Yeah, well, I remember the name because it's so weird, but
it was that weird horse thing with
dude.
feathers.
This is a winging episode. We haven't done this in a while, so we can do whatever we want.
And then they also did the Dark Knight Parsath, and that was the one where the card was like raised a little bit, and you could touch the texture.
Oh yeah, those weird texture ones.
And then I also have a Dark Magician Girl that I'm just keeping.
Same.
Yeah, it's one of those special ones that's only holographic on the picture and not on the name itself. Yeah.
Oh wow, rare.
The super rares.
Super rares.
Yeah.
Wow, what a bunch of fucking nerds.
I honestly never played that game correctly either.
No, I'm pretty sure we totally made up the rules as we played along. And also, my decks always consisted of just me shoving in as much of the cool looking holographic cards as I could because I was like, these ones look the coolest, so they have to be the best.
Yeah. And then once you get into like, Dan got into like card building with especially with the Yu-Gi-Oh game on the phone. it's like card building and deck building was really important. And then once that started going on, I was like, I don't want to play this now.
I just wanted to collect the cards and get the cool pictures.
I just want the shiny pictures. That's all of what my card collecting was about. Even Pokemon was just about collecting.
We'll see,
cool
but
pictures.
at least we tried to play the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, whereas Pokemon, I only collected the cards because I liked the cards. I think I might have played it all of like one time ever properly.
Do you remember that one? There was one time when we were in, we went to Sunday school, or was it you? It was children's church.
Okay.
And when we were kids, and Tita Butch had like a long thing to say about like Pokemon. He called them pocket monsters, and he was like, "Why would you want a monster in your pocket?"
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I remember this distinctly because I was like, "Oh wow, that sounds insane. Why would you want that either?"
That's just a
And then I
literal
figured out what it was.
translation in Japanese.
But then I figured out what it was, and I'm like,
pocket.
"What are you talking about?" Yeah, but
That's
so that was there's a few moments from church that really like etched their memory, etched like into my brain. It's that there's that one time where Tita Remy had given us video games for whatever reason.
Really?
Do you remember why that
Like
happened?
a Christmas thing or something?
It was when you had gotten Mojo.
Okay. Oh yeah, I do remember that. But that game was awesome. I thought you gave me that game.
No, Tita Remy gave you that game because I got Mark Davis Pro Bass Challenge. That's the best game ever created. Eventually everyone's going to have to play that game. There's a part where when you're fishing for this bass, sometimes you'll get really lucky and you'll catch a dark shadow. Ooh. Yeah, and that thing is crazy. It's like
Bass Challenge.
As soon as you hook it, you get like a ripping guitar solo.
Let's do a stream. I'll find an emulator and we'll play it.
Please. I really wanted to do like one of those.
Mojo though.
I wanted to do like the truck emulator for a long time.
Like one of those driving simulator games.
I don't know why. They
apparently
look really
in
dumb.
Germany and in lots of parts of Europe, the simulator games are super popular.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. It's like farming simulators, like one of the best selling things.
One of my best friends at Middlebury, Dave, had he had an older simulated game but it was really cool. It was like building trains and cities.
So it's like what's the one? It's like SimCity.
Basically like SimCity except without people.
Oh.
And so like you'd build like trains, and you get to like upgrade the type of train you're using or the types of car you're using, and you had to figure out how to bring goods from one area to the next area.
I see.
Yeah.
See, but the thing about the simulator games is that they're so accurate to real life that it's almost like why are you like driving simulators? Like you could just do this in real life.
Yeah, but in the simulator you could also answer the call of the void.
Yeah, but the whole purpose of the simulator is to be as accurate to real life as possible.
Well, why would you just not do the regular?
I don't know.
Then
If I wanted to answer the call of void, then I just play like GTA or something.
That's true. Yeah, but isn't it better? Isn't it better to have like a more accurate representation so that when you answer the call of the void, you get that cathartic feeling?
No, it's kind of like yes.
It's like I've done it.
I guess. I suppose.
I've never played a simulated game though.
Neither have I. I've watched a lot of playthroughs of it, and I'm like,
see, that doesn't sound cool. Like,
this is the thing.
I've watched a lot of playthroughs of simulated games. Just like I think of you watching somebody playing like the car simulator,
and I just sit down and watch it. I'm just like, yep, they're simulating driving a car.
Here it is. Here's what I've been waiting for.
And I'm watching it.
Honestly, I've really wanted to get on the whole idea of streaming horror games. Not that it's an original idea.
I'll do it, but with other people.
I can't do that alone.
Well, I mean, we did the Doki Doki Literature
together.
Club one.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I also knew what was happening because I had already seen it prior.
But even then, it was still freaky.
Yeah.
But
when I get a VR set, let's do.
I remember.
VR ones.
Oh my god. That might be a little too heavy, but we'll see. I remember that I had tried playing Amnesia with a few of my friends a couple of years ago. We had turned off all the lights in the house, and it was like midnight. I'm like, oh crap! Like I can't do this.
It has to be like middle of the day, lights on, many people around me.
Dude, I played BioShock when I was a kid in the middle of the day, and I was freaked out.
BioShock as a kid would probably freak me out.
Yeah. I mean, but as a kid, there were a lot of dumb things that freaked me out.
Yeah, like the Aladdin game that scared me, which is getting a remake. So I want to know if they have the freaky like Jafar face and stuff that I showed you.
For the uninitiated, there's a part in that game where like basically when you die, Jafar's face pops out at you, and that really speaks more to just your like how many those jump scares you get. You know, you were
didn't
always
desensitize me or anything. I just made me more scared of jump scares.
yeah, that's the thing, is you've been getting jump scares your entire life.
know.
It all started, I swear, when your sisters had shown you that one maze video and it just scarred you.
It wasn't the maze video. It was a video where it had a picture of a room, and it was one of those ones that was like, try to spot the difference.
Yeah.
So it would flip like a picture back and forth.
And then
I was like, oh yeah, I can spot the differences. And then one frame was just I remember it because it was a face. It wasn't like the Exorcist face that they use. It was just like a random screaming face, but the eyes were black, and then the colors were all negative, and it was a black background, and then the face was like a weird blue tint.
Oh, of course.
And the scream was really loud, obviously, but that was probably what terrified me for the rest of my life. I
got by one of those recently, and I was really mad
really?
about
You
it.
got by a screamer?
Yeah, well, just like I was watching this dumb video, and it looked pretty benign, and then I watched it, and I was like so mad that I'd been got by that stupid jump scare.
I thought they like kind of fell out of fashion after the mid 2000s.
I mean, yeah, they're like a relic, but I mean, people live in that era.
I think the last one that I was got by was I was watching some Maple Story video that was like, here's how to duplicate your items. It was totally harmless looking video, probably like 1,000 views. I was like, yeah, I want to do this because I play Maple Story. And then it was like a scary clown. It wasn't even a fast one. Like the JPEG of the clown was small, and then it like zoomed in, but it still scared me. I remember because I was in my mom's room and I jumped out of the room and I ran out.
Classic.
Speaking about, though, us being absent for a while, how much like shit has happened in the last 2 months?
Honestly, I have no idea like how much I've missed.
I mean, like the Hong Kong stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then Brexit's really reaching a boiling point right now.
Yeah, didn't they do something today?
It was like either yesterday or today. I don't know all the details about it because I briefly skimmed over it, but whenever I think of like historical events like World War II and I don't know, other stuff like that happening, it always seems like it's such a like really distant thing, and modern day is like just a regular everyday occurrence. But there are definitely things that are going to be in the history books that are happening right now.
How old is too old for the draft?
I don't know. That was one of the things that I was wondering, because I was like, if the whole Hong Kong stuff goes to total shit, like, I mean, I can't speak for whether or not it would trigger like a massive war, but I don't know. It's like a possibility, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, like all of the tension in between the EU, America, and China isn't great.
Do you know the whole thing about what's going on with Hong Kong and China?
I know there's lots of protesting.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is that there's an extradition bill that's going on, and what that means is that China could basically pull anyone from Hong Kong and try them under law from China.
Really?
Instead of Hong Kong's.
Oh, because they're separate.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because up until this point, Hong Kong has been recognized as its own area, separate from mainland China. But China wants this bill to go through that says that they can try Hong Kongers under Chinese law, which if that goes through, like on an everyday occurrence, they won't just pluck people out, right?
Yeah.
But the implication is that if this does happen, then it gives China the power to do that and possibly run through with it. Yeah. So that's why everyone's pissed, understandably so.
I mean,
because what's preventing them from just like accusing somebody of something happening and then doing that?
Yeah.
But the other thing is that like they're supposed to have their autonomy up until I think like 2047.
Yeah.
But this is happening
very early,
20, 30 years sooner than it's supposed to. So that's also why people are really upset about it. But this is like serious historical stuff that's happening right now, and it didn't occur to me until like a couple of days ago that I was like,
oh yeah, I mean,
these are events that people will be taught about. Brexit's going to be taught about for sure at some point.
I think once we have the ability to look back and to analyze, like there'll be a lot of connections drawn between like Brexit, like the way the US is right now, especially the rise of like nationalism, or not even national. Yeah, I would say nationalism, like really vehement nationalism, and like the right of like more right wing politics in a bunch of different countries. It's not just America. It's like
it's happening like all over the place.
I mean, Brexit is one of those places where it's like it's super obvious.
Yeah, Brazil's kind of fucked right now because I guess they got a new president and there's all the burning Amazon stuff.
Yeah, that's also a big issue too.
Just for the record, we're going to speak about this stuff like not politically affiliated at all.
Yeah.
And this is just from an objective point of view that it's like this stuff is happening.
And also, it's very depressing.
Yeah, super depressing.
Especially like the Amazon thing is really depressing. I don't know. I always get the sense that like it's really easy to feel powerless against the scale of how bad things are. Mm-hmm. Like everything seems so large, and like, you're one person who goes to work and like comes back, tries to make things happen for themselves. And at the same time, like these large processes happen that you have no control over, and they just happen outside of they happen outside of you as a person, and you basically exist as an unimportant, somehow affiliated part of that process.
Yeah, it's like you're a drop in the bucket, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like a lot of the people with malicious intent in positions of power are kind of relying on. Yeah. Like a bystander effect.
Yeah, and it's like it's important that you don't get trapped into that sort of like bystander effect, because it's important that we stay active, but also like, man, I think a lot of people just want to work and live.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd say that's the majority of people.
Nobody's
like there's a couple of people at the top that are really fucking it over for a bunch of other like the regular people.
Yeah, and so like it's easy as long as you keep people who want to work and live working and living. I mean, you don't have very much to worry about.
Yeah, I read a pretty interesting thing. I don't remember what the theory was called, but there's like an idea where the majority of people, the mass of people, are content with things kind of going to shit and not doing anything about it until their bottom line of how they live their everyday life is starting to be affected.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like everything around us is going to shit until like we have issues going to work, or like your income or something is affected. And then that's when everybody starts to get upset and starts taking action. Yeah. And now it's kind of like a matter of getting people to act before that bottom line is affected.
Yes.
But that's difficult. Also, I was thinking about how these events are happening, but there's really no precedent for how they're occurring, because now that we're in the age of information, like even like World War II and stuff, that was in a total different era, and things don't spread as quickly as they do now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wondering, like, I don't know, how is that going to affect world events? If they're going to blow over way faster because everybody can be aware of them much quicker. Or I don't know, are they going to use that age of information against us? Which they do, because, like like stuff gets spread real quick.
I think one of the biggest issues is that there's so much information sometimes. And it's really easy to like, when bad news comes out and you have enough power and clout, you can just like basically flood the market with more other types of news so that it doesn't get important.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's really sad, but like one thing to always think about is like when someone does something, like somebody who has power or has influence does something really silly or does something like outrageous, it's always important to think about what type of implications this has, like why now, and like what could possibly be happening that this sort of silly thing is trying to draw attention from.
Yeah. Because it's really easy to cherry pick information and then have that be the sole focus while leaving other things on that. Because like even with the Amazon stuff, they said it's been burning for like upwards of 3 weeks now, I think, before it became big news. And it's like, oh, well, we didn't know about it while it was happening, and then we were just blissfully unaware.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Do you have a happier conversation?
School really started.
That's like
that's even more sad for some people.
For me, because us, because we're not even in school.
Yeah. Well,
what are your back to school tips, Aaron?
Oh yeah, we said that was going to be the theme, right?
And welcome to the episode.
Welcome to episode. No, I'll find ways to cut this and make it more comprehensive.
Oh please, I think it's as comprehensive.
Well,
as
we're just rambling because we're getting back into the swing of it. Like we said,
this is the fun episode where we just do whatever, because why not?
Yeah, we're allowed to do this. People can't tell us what to do. This is our podcast.
My mom.
Back to school tips.
Yeah, what are your back to school tips?
Are we gonna give tips back to school for in general, for college, since that was our most recent thing?
Yeah, let's go in general. Let's go in general, and then we can go a little bit more like.
Okay. In general, if you have a locker buddy.
Okay.
Be friends with your locker buddies.
Yes.
Because if you don't have enough room in your locker, you can be like, hey, can I store some stuff in your locker? Be like, yeah. That's what I did. Sometimes my books were too big and my backpack wouldn't fit, so I could only fit my backpack. I'm like, can you put my books in your locker for a little bit?
I'm trying to remember if I had a locker buddy in high school.
I was fortunate enough to always actually have my locker buddies be just my regular friends too.
Okay. I don't think I had a locker buddy. I think I had people that I associated near my locker because we had a similar last name. Mm-hmm. And so like we were buddies because we basically saw each other at the same time every day. Those are simpler times though. Yeah. I remember like, I feel a bit nostalgic over like, you know, the bell would go out and then you go to your locker and you'd see the same people. And then you would try and find your friends afterwards so you could all walk out together and like hang out while everyone got picked up by their parents.
Well, I remember running from one end of the building to the other because we only had like 2 minutes in between each class period to get to the next class.
That's true.
Which is kind of bullshit.
I think we had 4 minutes between classes, and sometimes I'd be like I'd be on the opposite side of the school, although it's not like it was a huge school.
Yeah.
It's not like in college, like there'd be times where you'd be running across campus in 10 minutes because you booked your classes incorrectly, and like,
yeah,
that sucked. I think I did that for an entire quarter one time, and it was really bad.
You just had to really quickly run or try to catch a bus or something?
Oh, well, I would just tell the professor, like, I got to leave right at the bell or maybe a little bit earlier because I have a class to catch right afterwards.
Oh, there's a good tip. Go to class. Just go to class.
Yeah, that was going to be my tip is go to class, especially for the new collegers.
Yeah, that's a big mistake that a lot of people make. Even those easy blow-off classes, it's still probably, if at the very least the attendance check doesn't get you, then go just for the sake of being able to know what's up to date.
Honestly, like, I don't know. It's kind of fun to know stuff. Like,
yeah,
acquiring knowledge is great.
That's one of the things I try to do every day is I try to learn something new, regardless of how pointless or tiny it is.
And what did you learn today?
All the German stuff that you've been teaching me.
True.
That's a lot of information. You did me a lot of learning today.
A lot of learning.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What did you learn today?
I've been writing my paper and just learning about Russian music.
Are you going to start writing your paper in half German because you've been so used to it?
That's a problem. Like if I use too much German. So when I was in Middlebury and I would write emails, there'd be 2 issues of writing English words in German syntax, but then also mixing English and German words up so you'd get Danglish. And like that was an entirely different issue. That sucked. It would always feel unnatural to write those. No, but I've been reading all of these books that you see in front of you are books that I've been like pouring through recently.
Those are some thick books.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going through them mainly by chapters just to look at what's important. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not going to sit through and read the entire thing?
No, it's literally, it's impossible and just really it's not a good idea to try and read through all the literature in a singular field.
Do you think they have audiobooks for that?
Yeah, but even still, like, I learn better when I see the words myself. Listening to the words sometimes is a little more difficult for whatever reason.
I would agree with that.
Do you ever find that? Like,
if I can read a sentence over and over again, it's sometimes easier to grasp the meaning behind it instead of listening to it.
Although last night Kelby was reading to me one of her cases that she had to write a memo for which she had to write a memo, and I found that it was better when she was narrating the words rather than me reading it. For whatever reason, that worked a lot better.
Maybe it's certain people have a better control over their voice, so it's easier to understand. Because sometimes the inner voice in my head kind of just mumbles things.
Your inner voice mumbles?
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's just
tell
like...
it to stop.
It's just... And then I'm like, oh, I don't really understand that.
Have you ever wondered, like, what your inner voice sounds like?
My inner voice sounds like me. Okay,
yeah, because I always thought... Let me read something for a second. See, I don't know what voice that is. I assume it's just like my voice.
Okay, this is a fun conversation. Have the voice inside your head?
Yeah.
Because one of my friends, he told me that he doesn't have a voice, and instead what he has is he visualizes the sentence instead. Like he visualizes the letters and the words written out, and he doesn't have a voice in his head. Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Neither do I, because in my head it's just me talking, but in my head.
You ever met those people who they can't visualize pictures?
Like they just have a complete inability to visualize anything?
Yeah. Like I had met someone who couldn't visualize what a mouse was.
Really?
And only a mouse.
Like, did he know what a mouse was?
He knew what a mouse was, but it was impossible for him to visualize in his head mouse.
Was it only the mouse, or was it like anything? Like if you told him, "Can you draw me a picture of a chair?" he wouldn't be able to do that either.
I think it was a select amount of words that he couldn't.
That must be like some sort of medical anomaly.
It is. There's like certain people who can't picture things in their head. Yeah.
One of the shower thoughts that I saw was the voice inside your head can whisper, but it's still the same volume no matter what you do to it.
Stop.
Or you can yell with the voice inside your head, but it's still the same volume. And now everybody's starting to do it.
Stop.
Right? I'm doing it right now.
How dare you?
It's like becoming painfully aware of breathing, and then you have to start doing it manually.
Or
blinking, yeah.
Yeah, the yelling thing especially. Like when you yell and then whisper in your head, it's like it sounds exactly the same.
I'm doing it right now. Like I'm going like da 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 da, and then I'm whispering, still same volume.
Huh.
Although the voice in my head is my voice as I hear it, instead of how you or how it will sound in the recording. Because that's still the skull vibration sound.
It's exactly how I hear it as well.
Yeah.
Huh.
Have we talked about that? Like how different we think we hear ourselves compared to because we do.
Because I really hate the sound of my voice.
Oh yeah, I still hate the sound of my recorded voice.
Yeah.
Posting and editing these videos has been helpful.
I mean that must help your relationship with your voice.
It did a little bit, but I still don't think it sounds like me that much. I learned last week that "Bless Your Heart" is
absolutely.
great one. Have you heard that one a lot?
"Bless Your Heart" is totally backhanded too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
that's like Southern insults are very backhanded.
Yeah.
I really like that though. "Bless your heart." It's like,
oh, bless your soul.
You're an idiot.
Yeah,
but
it's
you're
like
trying to say it in a
it's
really
like
nice way.
You couldn't possibly understand what I'm trying to tell you, but it's okay. God made you.
Next time,
that's all
so
it
it's
is.
like you're special in a good way.
Exactly. It's so backhanded, and I've never had anyone say that to me as of yet. Here's
that just means you haven't done anything dumb enough for them to try to use it on you.
That's right.
Next time somebody does something dumb, I'll be like, "Bless your heart, bruv."
Oh wow. So you're gonna
mix
switch.
everything. I'm gonna try to mishmash as much cultural dialect as I can.
A hollow of dialects. Yeah. Okay.
Like me and my roommate senior year, we were like, you know what? Let's try to make "cunt" an endearing word, like they do in Australia or Britain.
Yeah.
Like I always heard that in Australia, if somebody says "mate" to you, then they mean business.
Yeah.
But if they're just like, "Hey, you cunt," then they're like, "Oh, you're my buddy. You're my friend."
We can do that.
I'm not gonna bleep that out because this is America, and
that's
I can say
that's right. And we're free here.
Yeah.
We have freedom units here.
Dingo ate your baby, mate.
What?
That's my favorite Australian phrase.
Dingo ate your
Dingo ate your baby, mate.
That is true.
Oh no, dingo ate your baby, mate.
One of my favorite running jokes with German was some words in German sound very Australian.
Really?
Yeah, the
like
word
Reiseblide.
Kind of. So like the word for building in German sounds very much like Australian.
What is it?
It's Gebäude.
Oh, that does sound.
Gebäude. Hause.
Gebäude.
Yeah.
How you doing, mate?
And then house is Hause.
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 Oh, I know that word.
Or Mause.
Hauser is actually house. That's just a word.
Hause. But then when you change house to be plural houses, it becomes Häuser.
Häuser. Oh, that's even more.
And then mouse becomes Mäuse.
Mäuse.
So I used to say like, "Wir haben zwei Mäuse in unser Häuser."
Change into an Australian accent halfway through.
Yeah.
That's funny. Look at that big Mickey Mäuse.
Wo ist die Gebäude? Gebäude.
You got that really breathy H sound at the end. Gebäude.
It's this reminds me of Getreide. Getreide is wheat. Mm-hmm. The first day that I was there, I played Catan in German.
So you had to ask for the materials in German?
Hast du Lehm? Hast du Getreide? And so that just became like a meme for us. Like, hast du Schaf?
Is that which one, what are the 5? I'll use it next time I play Catan.
So wheat is Getreide.
Okay, Getreide.
Getreide. Sheep is Schaf.
Schaf?
Schaf. Okay. Brick is Lehm.
Lame, just lame.
Lame. Yeah.
Okay.
Wood is Holz.
Holz.
And stone is Erz.
Erz.
Nice. Yeah.
I will use those next time.
So when you'd ask someone, you'd be like,
"Can I get some lame?"
Hast du Lehm?
Hast du Lehm? Hast du is that do you have?
Yeah, hast du. So yeah, here's another fun thing about grammar in German is when you want to ask a question. Normally, how it works is that you have your subject and then your verb in position 2. But when you want to ask a question, you take your verb and you put it in position 1. So, like for instance, hast du Lehm is do you have any like brick, or for another thing like are you eating apples?
Yeah.
Like isst du Apfel? Are you eating apples?
Are you eating apples?
Yeah. Isst du Äpfel? And you could say no, but also
Nine.
Yeah, or nee. Nee is very Berlin.
Is that like the difference of like no or nah?
Yeah, I suppose nee is a little bit more slang. But my friend who lived in Berlin for a while had said like nobody says like 9 is hardly ever used, and generally people say nee. Yeah,
I see. What's yes?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's quaint.
What section of Germany or is it a total stereotype when they're always like, yeah, this is like that type?
Oh, I actually don't know what type of dialect that is.
You know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, I do. Maybe that's just like the artsy fartsy, like,
yeah, maybe,
you know, like
over exaggerated thing.
Yeah. Southern Deutsch, like near Austria, is very distinct. And you can tell, like, when people have lived in Austria, like, their German is...
Because they all sound like Arnold.
Yeah, they all sound really buff. It's got, like, a
you
certain...
sound buff. That's not a thing I've ever heard before.
You sound super buff.
You sound jacked, dude.
Oh, wow, you sound super buff over the phone.
You sound like a real Deuteronomy.
I'm gonna make sure that... What's up, my Deuteronomy? You sound buff today, my dude.
Yeah, you know, I am sounding very buff. Also, the thing where where people say he makes that sound, he doesn't really actually ever do that in movies.
but
it's just it's a fun thing to do.
Like it.
Yeah, I know.
And we want to believe that he makes that sound.
I'm sure he has probably done it like in one scene or something when he maybe like during Terminator.
You can't say that he's never made it before.
Yeah.
Either.
Oh, he's probably totally done it before.
I mean, if I had such an iconic voice, I would just make it regularly.
He's incredibly wholesome too.
Yeah, he is a nice guy.
There's a thing where like some dumbass like tried to drop kick him and then he was just like, instead of sharing this video, donate to charity or something. I was like, you go, Arnold. You're a good guy.
See, I would expect Arnold to answer like, do you remember that one episode of SpongeBob where someone threw SpongeBob against the really buff dude in front of the salty spittoon, and he goes, "Who threw that piece of paper at me?"
That's what you would think Arnold would reply to.
Yeah.
Everybody just pales in comparison to him.
Yeah, he's a pretty big dude, even for an old guy.
Yeah. Welcome to the Arnold cast.
Yeah, welcome to the Arnold cast, where we love Arnold.
I'm talking about. Oh, speaking of Arnold, I got Hey Arnold socks on.
Oh, wow.
What a coincidence.
Wait, let me see. That's so awesome.
His hair. And then on my left foot, I got Gerald.
Wait, where's Gerald?
See his face and his...
Oh.
I like these.
That's super cool.
Sock game is part... Oh, here, no, let's bring it back. Okay. Back to school tip. Make sure your sock game is on point.
Honestly, if people can't see your socks, like, what's the point of wearing socks?
Yeah. And if you do have socks, try to add a little bit of flair. They're the easiest thing to change about your outfit while maintaining that low level...
Honestly, like I love changing up the sock game because, like, I don't know, you can be a little wacky with your socks, and like that's so harmless. It's not like you're wearing okay, my biggest pet peeve are those like shitty ass like huge white Fila shoes.
Oh,
I hate those.
Yeah,
so
why
much.
Why are those such a like?
I have no idea why they're so popular. They're the most ugly things I've ever seen.
Would you rather wear those or Crocs?
Dude, don't ask me that. I don't know.
They
both
pick
sound
the
like
lesser
trash.
of the two evils.
Crocs for sure, then.
At least they're comfy.
No, Crocs are, I think, unequivocally not comfy. But I don't know. I think I could get away with wearing Crocs. Although there was that one time I was wearing Crocs to my orthodontist appointment, and the orthodontist assistants had made fun of me for it.
For wearing Crocs?
For wearing Crocs. And I was like, you're such an ass. Like...
They're like, you wear Crocs, by the way, here's your bill.
Yeah, here's your bill. I'm just like, how was that? Like, leave me alone for wearing my Crocs. I like my Crocs.
Did you see the guy who made Crocs gloves, and then he got a cease and desist from them?
Did he really?
Yeah, I think it was because he called them Crocs gloves instead of some generic name for it. But
Gator gloves?
Yeah.
Honestly, that would have been a lot easier, but that's probably also copyrighted.
Probably.
But also that guy who makes unnecessary inventions is pretty funny.
Yeah, he's great.
Did you see the last one where he had made a watch where you could eat your cereal out of it?
Is it just like a bowl?
It's literally a bowl that you attach to your wrist.
Does it still have the functionality of telling time, or is it just a bowl strapped to your
I think
wrist?
it's just a bowl strapped to your wrist.
Hey, man, somebody could use it.
So there's an episode of Always Sunny where they raise this question. If you're driving a car and you're eating a bowl of cereal and somebody rear ends you and you spill your milk all over the interior of your car.
Yeah.
The damages are nothing's wrong on the outside, but your interior is destroyed. Whose fault is that?
So you get rear-ended, nothing is wrong on the outside, but the inside's all milky and cereal.
Yeah, because you decided to eat a bowl of cereal on your way to work.
Am I trying to claim insurance on this event?
I don't know. I just want to know who's at fault.
I think it would be on me because I had the audacity to try to eat cereal at the same time as driving a car.
I've eaten dinner while driving. It really sucks.
I can eat like sandwiches while I'm driving.
Yeah, I mean, like that's not skillful.
Although it's easy, I think because I have done this before. If I got too lazy to pour a bowl of cereal in a bowl, I would fill a tall cup up with milk, and then you put cereal in, and then you kind of just drink it while getting it.
You do the milk before the cereal?
Well, it does. No, I can cereal before milk.
I don't know. You start with that.
Don't try to pin me with this and make me think. I'd rather be called a mouth breather than be accused as a person.
That's another good insult. Is you pour your milk before your cereal?
You're one of those people. That drops you to like tier 4.
That's
right
like
away.
Definite tier 4. Like I don't want to associate with you if you do that.
But having the cereal in the cup makes it easier because you can get the cereal bits and control the amount of milk, and it's all in one hand.
I used to do that. As a child, or as a kid, rather. Yeah, that was the best idea. We also had we had these tall plastic cups, and I would just like scoop and then just pour a bunch of milk in there and eat that. I'd have like 4 of those sometimes. Oh, the best was I'd fill it with Golden Grams.
And milk?
Yeah.
Yeah, Golden Grams were kind of cereal on their own.
I love Golden Grams.
Oh, wait, I was thinking Teddy Grams.
No, Golden Grams, not Teddy Grams.
The square things, right?
Yeah, the square ones that look really boring but are great.
Dude, don't talk about food.
Man,
I'm trying to be on a cut.
I want Golden Grams now.
I mean, 7-Eleven's over there.
Yeah, you're right.
It's also really late.
Yeah, you're right. But Golden Grams, man.
Golden Grams are pretty good.
Hey, eat your breakfast, or back to school tip.
Yeah, I unfortunately skipped out on breakfast a lot. Not because I woke up. Actually, it's exactly because I woke up too late.
I think it's because of that.
It's not that I was too lazy. It's just that I didn't have time. Although I try to save food from the day before and then just.
I mean, like Poverty Special though. You don't eat breakfast. You don't pay for breakfast.
Yeah. Also, it helps on the cut.
That's true. It helps on the cut.
You didn't consume as many calories.
You just gotta drink coffee for breakfast.
Yeah.
Honestly, you lose weight.
I avoided coffee, and I have still avoided coffee because I don't want to develop a reliance on caffeine to get me through the day.
Oh, okay.
The way I always did it is I'd just eat a bunch of candy and get a sugar rush. The crash is probably way worse, but
your unwillingness to have coffee normally would sink you down another tier, but I think because you sound so pretentious about it, I'm gonna put you up a tier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
thanks. It canceled itself out.
Yeah, it's a net zero.
I like coffee flavored things, so I think I'd probably
that brings you up another tier.
Like coffee flavored ice cream's great.
Yeah.
I think it's just the caffeine part of it.
I try and relegate myself to only 1 cup of coffee per day, and then during the weekends I don't drink coffee.
In the morning, or do you use it to keep if you're falling asleep and then you?
I use it primarily in the morning because I'm not a morning person, and it helps me wake up. And when I don't have too much coffee, that dopamine hit is just so heavy every time. I don't know. Have you ever had a really good hit of dopamine after some coffee?
Not after coffee, but in general, I guess, yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes, after I have coffee, I get so positive. And
really?
It's like the world is new and it's my oyster and I can do so many things. And then 4 hours later, it's like I'm gonna die.
The world is not my oyster. It is in fact a great white shark. Do you get headaches if you don't get your coffee in the morning? I know that some people.
No, I don't have much of a dependence on coffee. I like to have it in the morning because it's nice. The bitterness wakes me up and
Yeah, do you drink your coffee straight black?
Black. Although Kelby's bought this thing recently that's been really good. It's a mixture of almond milk and coconut milk.
Really?
It's really good. I was so surprised when I had it. But yeah, normally I normally go black. Sometimes if the coffee's not good, I'll put cream in it.
Yeah.
But that really depends on the coffee itself.
Well, I mean, you know what they say. Once you go black, you probably don't need to add a lot of cream to it.
That's right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah.
That's right.
Back to school tip.
Back to school.
Drink coffee if you need it. Although I have heard that some people say when you drink your coffee or get your caffeine, it kind of depends on like what state you're in. So if you're in the act of waking up, it'll help you wake up faster. But if you're like crashing and then you have caffeine, it kind of just makes it worse.
Yeah,
and
it'll just mean that you're tired and your heart's beating faster.
Yeah.
Like
that's probably the worst combination.
That really does suck. I remember not sleeping one night last year because I had to stay up and do a project.
Yeah.
And I remember like the sun rose and I got ready and I took a shower and then I had a cup of really strong coffee, like something that it was really high in caffeine, and I was still tired. And I just but
your heart was beating really fast?
like, wow, I'm going to have a fucking heart attack right now. And that's what it felt like the entire class. Just horrible.
When it's like, it's so silent, but then honestly, you can just hear your heart beating.
Never again will that happen. Like that day was such a mess. I couldn't function. And like, I had so much to do that day. I remember, I was walking down the street, and when you're so tired, you can only really focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah. And
I remember like being so afraid or being so like astonished and surprised by a runner who ran past me, because I had this tunnel vision of only what was in front of me. And like, I'm walking in this direction and this runner ran past me and I flipped my shit because I had no idea he was there. Yeah. And then I drove a lot. And so that was like not a good idea.
That's probably scary.
Oh yeah. That was stupid. But like also I had to work. So, but
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. So that's another one is sleep. Like,
yeah, get your sleep.
Yeah.
Everybody, I know they say recommended is 8 hours, but it can vary from person to person.
I normally went for 7.
Yeah,
and 7 works with me as well. Like, I don't know, I was tired, but also like I wasn't so tired that I couldn't function. Once you get to 6, like 6 gets a little pushy.
Yeah, 6 is like I need a nap.
Yeah, and anything less than 6 is just not enough.
Yeah. 5 was my minimum to not be a total zombie, but it was like I'm 100% taking a nap when I get back.
Have you heard about those people who try and switch their routine so that they sleep less during the day?
Like the 4-hour split?
Yeah, but then there's more too. There's some people who like they only sleep 2 hours of the day, but they take these really strong naps. Like they'll take like a 20-minute nap.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 times during the day, and they're awake for the rest of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. For me, naps don't count unless I'm like actually unconscious.
What do you mean?
Like I can't just lay down on a couch and close my eyes while still like listening to everything around me and count that as a nap. Like I have to be like actually asleep.
Yes, of course.
For that to count.
Sometimes I try to nap and I normally can't. It's just too much.
It depends. I've realized recently that I have to be physically exhausted in order to fall asleep well and like actually stay asleep for the majority of time.
Yeah.
Because I have been having lots of bouts of insomnia.
Why?
For some, I don't know, dude. But the days after I have a good workout or like doing something physical like volleyball today, I'm probably going to be able to sleep pretty well.
Nice.
I don't know. I've learned that apparently 98 minutes is more or less how long it takes to go through a sleep cycle.
Yes.
So instead of just saying 8 hours, a lot of sleep doctors in recent times have been recommending try to do your sleep schedule in multiples of that 90 minutes. So whatever that is.
So let's see that.
An hour and a half.
Yeah. So
multiples of 3.
So 3, 4.5, 6.
9 hours or 6 hours. But like I said, give or take.
7.5 works.
Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah.
That's usually what I try to
that's normally what goes for me as well. Is like I normally wake up well after 7.5 hours. Like if I go to bed at 12 and I wake up at 7:30, it means that I've done a good job.
Yeah. Although one of the other things that I've come to realize recently is I don't really remember the last time I slept through fully all the way. Like,
neither do I.
I have probably ever since like college started. I wake up like maybe once or twice, and not just to like go pee or something, because that happens occasionally. But like I mean, just sleeping like the full 7.5, 8 hours. Like I always inevitably wake up and then have to fall back asleep. Yeah, it sometimes happens really quick, but then I'll have to go back to sleep, and it's just like, this is a slog.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like I normally get up in the middle of the night for whatever reason. Like just have to. It depends on it depends on my sleep schedule too. Like I normally get up after like 2 cycles.
Yeah.
I've noticed it. Like If I go to bed at 12, I wake up at 3. If I go to bed at 11, I wake up at 2.
Oh.
It normally happens like after the second cycle I get up.
Interesting.
So
you ever have that sometimes point where you're like, you want to go back to sleep, but you're kind of like, I already woke up and there's no point, so I might as well just stay up?
yeah, I try really hard not to have that in the middle of the night. Sometimes it's really dangerous. Like if I like cross a certain point of being awake where my mind starts being more active, I'll stay up.
Yeah.
And then that sucks because it ruins my entire schedule.
Yeah. But get your sleep. That's a back to school tip.
Yeah. Eat a lot as well, or eat enough.
One thing about eating that, well, at least in terms of being physical for me,
Yeah.
that totally changed my outlook on how I eat is that in conjunction with working out, instead of working out in order to eat, it should be you should eat in order to work out.
Yes, and that's a really interesting thing because normally like your relationship with food is so, with a lot of people, it's like, oh, I need to work out so I can eat.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think, an incorrect way of looking at food.
Yeah.
I look at food in a way that's like, yeah, it's exactly like what you had said where you eat in order to do things.
Yeah.
Like I need energy in order to make this happen, so I need to eat.
Yeah. Instead of viewing it as a reward that you can only attain by doing physical activity.
Yeah.
But yeah, that changed my outlook on it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
And that's interesting too, because like it's a common viewpoint to have where like eating is a reward, right?
Because unfortunately,
we glorify food in such a way where it's like, if I work out today, I deserve to eat this. But rather, it's like if you took a few more steps like with your food, you wouldn't have to be so like strict about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eat enough.
Eat enough.
Eat enough and sleep enough. Honestly, it's some of the best advice like for anyone in going back to school.
Yeah. Also, if you have to write papers and stuff or you need books, Google that shit. Make your Google search more accurate. Put quotation marks before and after the exact phrase. Sometimes it'll show up on Quizlet if you're looking up like a specific question. And yeah, that'll be 10 out of 10. Make some group chats with your classmates or friends in other classes, because passing knowledge along is 10 out of 10. If they have old tests or something that you can study off of, I did that. Probably the majority of my classes.
Yeah. Gotta get info when you can. What else is there? Make friends with your professors.
That's good. They're professionals in their industries.
And that's why it's also important that you go to class and you be good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, always take everything seriously.
You don't have to be a straight A student.
Yeah.
But still try to put in effort.
Yeah. I mean, it's better, of course, if you can.
Yeah.
What else?
But don't let it consume you.
Yeah. Drafting pencils are always better than regular pencils.
What's a drafting pencil?
A drafting pencil is like what like an architect would use. It's a metal pencil with a really nice frame, and normally it has like a tip that allows the lead to be more firm. I have a drafting pencil that's really nice because it's a Pentel 500. The Pentel 1000 is my favorite, but I've lost 2 of them already, so I'm gonna wait on that.
It sounds like it's almost getting the fountain pen addiction territory.
I'm really trying not to get into that sort of territory, because once you get into like good fountain pens, I think it's too hard.
Yeah,
to
I
get
almost
out of
did that because I was interested in calligraphy for a bit.
Oh yeah,
and everyone was like, "If you're gonna get into calligraphy, you should get a good fountain pen." And I was like, "Huh." But I also looked at them, and some of them are really expensive.
You know, some of them run up like $200-$300 for a fountain pen, and I'm like, at that point, what are you really buying?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Plus, my handwriting isn't good enough to justify that.
I had practiced calligraphy for a while, but I'm very out of practice. Now it's like people say like my writing is neat. It's just like I have a good shorthand. Like I have a good mixture of cursive and not in print.
If you have to write something for somebody else, does it look radically different than when you write things for yourself? Because mine is pretty different.
Yeah, if I'm writing something for someone else to see, I'll just make sure that's very clear.
Yeah.
My font is the same, but like when I'm writing only for myself, I take more scratchy notes.
Yeah,
like,
same here.
You know, my notes look like chicken scratch, really.
Or it's only decipherable by you and probably not by any. Yeah.
And sometimes decipherable by me. I remember I had to take notes for something, and I remember going back to the notes and being like, what the hell did I write? Like, does this even make sense in the way that it is? Oh, one more thing. The last one I have is understand that you can only do so much learning during the day. At some point you have to stop.
As in take a break?
Well, take a break or just stop for the entire day. You know, you can only put so much effort into an entire day. And like, once you can't do it, you know, you have to understand the cutoff between good work and like not fruitful work. You know, like, I think once you understand yourself enough to understand where your unfruitful work happens, like, you know, your life just gets better. Like, for instance, I kind of stopped working after 10 o'clock just because, like, anything that I do after 10 o'clock is just going to be BS. Yeah. It's going to be like half-assed work, and I'd rather not have that. And so, like, I'll work throughout the day, and I know my limits about how much I can work at a given time and before I have to take a break. And so I follow those. And then, like, I work as much as I can. And then at a certain point, when I'm really feeling that, like, I'm not actually learning anything and I'm just skimming, then I stop.
That's a good piece of advice you got there.
Yeah.
You could sell that at a high price.
I'm selling this on sale, though.
But, like your piece of advice and knowing when your effort is waning. Yes. My effort is also waning right now. Yes. I'm getting pretty sleepy.
But also, this episode's been going long, so.
Yeah, that's true. I'll cut it up and stuff. Yeah. But this is our returning episode just to get back into the groove of it. So sorry for our rambling. That has mostly been, it's been like a quarter Arnold, quarter speaking about German and other languages.
Yeah.
Quarter world events and a quarter of back to school.
Yeah. So really the most eclectic group of things. Hey, but you know what? If you're still here listening to us, and I don't know who you are, I want to express how much I love you. Yeah. And that love is very sexual.
Thank you for sticking with us long enough. JP really likes it. His shirt is now coming off, and it's probably a good time to... Oh, there goes the pants. Yep. Okay, and it's probably a good time to end it right here. Bye.